What fact sounds legit but is actually fake? The first video ever uploaded to YouTube had to be taken down in 2016 for violating their terms of service. I'd believe the shit out of this one. Yes, it sounds legit. Question on top of that for me would be, which video do I think it is? Me at the zoo got taken down by Disney because the elephants in the background look too much like the ones in the live-action remake of The Lion King. I forgot what post's comments I was scrolling and was like TF. The further down the comment thread I go, the more this keeps happening to me. It should really be studied as a phenomenon of the internet and the psychology of echo chambers. Me reading this comment, how do you forget it's all fake facts? It should be pretty obvious. Me, 30 seconds later, WTF, that's not even true? Why are people upvoting this bullshit? If you tell me, I won't get mad. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. They're also mad. I've been in both situations. Finding out a random friend stole a measly $10 from me in college. Not mad, just disappointed that he would risk the friendship over something so petty. Finding out that my group of closest friends all decided together to start a D&D campaign without anyone mentioning it to me or asking if I wanted to join. Going so far as apparently specifically telling everyone not to let me know they were excluding me. Not mad, just disappointed. Actually no, I was so legitimately upset that I couldn't sleep even 12 hours after I found out. It's a trap. On the same note, oh, nothing. Everything's fine. If you like Pornhub you'll love Pornhub Live. Hey, you. Don't you fucking dare skip this ad. You would think a site that is aware of the fact that its user base is mostly trying to be discreet, and I'd say a good 85% or higher use headphones while viewing, wouldn't use the loudest goddamn ad I've ever heard in my life. Ya smile. Aggressive moaning in the background. Wanna see what I do with this? That popping, crunching joints on your hands will give you arthritis. It's not true. I read that it's not your muscle, bone cracking, but just air escaping. It's the synovial fluid being moved around the joint and displacing gas bubbles. Which is why you can't pop the same knuckle twice in a row very easily. You have to wait for the gas to move back into the joint to be able to displace it again. I just want my ankles to stop cracking. Ya this happens to you too? I can crack my ankles repeatedly, and sometimes it'll happen just when I am walking. Always when I am trying to walk stealthily around the house at night when others are sleeping. Crack, crack 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 crack. My left foot. Every time. My left one used to all the time, until I broke it. Then it stopped. Oddly enough, I've broken my right one also, and it never used to crack or pop. Now it does all the time. Weird. Results 50-50, would not recommend. I'll roll the dice and break my wife's toe. So. Joint fart? I have those after I smoke weed. Always wait 24 hours before reporting a missing person. This can actually be quite dangerous. Definitely don't wait a whole weekend. Shout out to R, abducted in plain sight. At that point you don't want that person coming back. After 24 hours the missing person's survival chances drop dramatically. Hair grows back stronger after being razored off. I was told this for so long. A 12-year-old has the sense to see that the stubble that occurs after shaving just feels and looks more coarse because of the blunt ends. And I was taught this by every female role model like it was the gospel truth. Just a heads up, they probably wanted you to shave the peach fuzz or the stash because it didn't suit you. Not always the case. My cousins and siblings and I are all in our 20s 30s now, and majority of them all still believe this, men and women. When I try to explain to them it's just blunt stubble, they all swear their hair grows and thicker every time they shave. Sometimes the argument is lost on people. Tell them to just wait until they're in their 60s. Each hair will have the diameter of a dime. I'm 80. Just one big hair on top. I look like an eraser. Your eyes don't grow. They do actually grow, but they grow very slowly, like really slowly. By the time Grandpa turned 90, he had eyes in the back of his head. Ears too. Despite his selective hearing, Grandpa could be in his living room and still hear me whisper whiskey in the basement. Blanks are harmless. Just ask John Eric Hexam. Wait, you can't, he's dead. Or Brandon Lee. Weren't those real bullets? Edit, NVM, a bunch of errors and stupid mistakes happened and it turned into a real bullet. It was technically a blank, but through a series of increasingly ridiculous errors, he was shot with a real bullet. Propelled by a charge from a blank cartridge. Carbon monoxide is heavier than air, so put your detectors close to the floor. The first people to die of CO poisoning are the ones lying down. Reality, CO is about the same density as air. In fact, it is actually slightly lighter than air, so it doesn't matter where you put your detectors. This myth likely started because CO fatalities are most likely to occur while people are sleeping because they are not aware of the symptoms of poisoning, dizziness, nausea, etc., versus those who are awake. Also might come from animals being affected first, or little kids. It's not actually because they're closer to the ground, it's because they're smaller, should be obvious, but might feed the myth. Keep small kids around as CO detectors. If a baby bird falls out of a tree, touching it will make it smell human and cause the mom to abandon it. Not true. I've heard this is the same for a few animals like rabbits. Is it a false statement for all animals? The problem is that some birds and most rabbits just aren't great parents. It might not be because of smell or any one thing, but doesn't take a whole lot to spook a mother rabbit or bird away from their nest long enough to kill the babies. It's a quantity versus quality issue. Rabbits, and deer, will also only visit the nest twice per day, to avoid attracting predators to the nest. So it may look abandoned, but unless it's been 24 hours with no sign of a parent, you're probably just babysitting for them. Little do they know that the predator is already at their nest. If you tell me the truth you won't get in trouble. A cop, to 16-year-old me. Cops do this tactic to a lot of people. Or the classic just write an apology letter. Suddenly they have a written confession. It's weird that this actually happens. It seems so innocent. I hate this mindset so much. If you're in a car accident, you can't admit wrongdoing because then you're completely effed. So the idiot who did a 3-lane switch and nearly killed us acted like, wow, how did that happen? Oh my gosh. Knowing that if he admitted to it, his insurance would screw him over and hurt him financially. But if he only admitted, we wouldn't have to hire lawyers for months to chase after his insurance to pay for my physical therapy. While I don't agree with it, I understand why you should always keep tight-lipped, even if that action screwed me over. Myth: 3 Americans every year die from rabies. Fact: 4 Americans every year die from rabies. Mind blown. Think that's crazy? Imagine being the 5th guy and being told you have to wait. We only use 10% of our brains. I know people in this forum that use far less than that. Hey, don't drag me into this. Oh, sorry. Didn't think you were able to understand the whole sentence. Didn't thought. I see you as the dumb to friend. We only use 1/3 of our traffic lights. I work in psychology and this is the best rebut of this fact I have read. Definitely using this next time I get asked about this myth. Wanna know what it's called when all the traffic lights are going full power? A seizure. People think they're gonna become Carrie and just end up doing the Harlem Shake alone. That your blood is blue when there is no oxygen in it. I think it is darker when it has no oxygen, but not blue. Edit, typo. I had a 30-minute argument with my sophomore biology teacher about this once. She was convinced because veins under the skin look blue that the blood must be blue. Edited spelling. NASA spent millions of dollars on a pen that could work in space, while the Russians just used a pencil. They didn't spend the money developing the pen, Fisher did, and then approached NASA. Also, they wanted a pen instead of a pencil so there was less chance of graphite breaking off and getting into the electronics. What if they used a crayon? Ah, I see you want to become a space marine, huh? Lightning never strikes twice in the same place. As disproven by skyscrapers. And some people, I believe. Like our man, Roy Sullivan. Well, his problem was that he kept moving. Yeah, if he would have just died the first time this wouldn't be an issue. Roman people would use bird poop to dye their hair, true. The birds used to produce the poop were actually somewhat expensive to keep, it wasn't just random chickens. It got so popular that opportunistic people would mix together things that looked like the bird poop to sell, and ended up using fats, for texture and consistency, and lye, for color. This counterfeit poop ended up being more popular in the long run thanks to its cleaning effects. Hence, shampoo. Shampoo for my real friends and real poo for my sham friends. You eat 8 spiders per year while sleeping or whatever. Average person eats 8 spiders a year. Factoid actually just statistical error. Average person eats 0 spiders per year. Spiders Georg, who lives in cave and eats over 10,000 each day, is an outlier and should not have been counted. For one person to single-handedly bring the average up by 8, they would need to eat 165 million spiders a day, that is 1910 spiders a second, with no breaks. Caffeine stunts your growth. It's been scientifically proven that an average dose of caffeine has no effect on your height. Caffeine does not affect growth hormones unless it is in absurd amounts. Like 35 cups of straight caffeine, not 2 cups of coffee and a Mountain Dew. 35 cups of caffeine would affect your growth by killing you. Exactly. It's hard to grow when you're dead. Coconuts have hair and produce milk, therefore coconuts are mammals. So are they birds? It could explain their migration habits. Are you suggesting coconuts migrate? Black holes suck in everything. If a black hole of the same mass replaced our sun, we'd still go around it as if nothing happened. Well, we'd all be frozen to death, but let's ignore that. Worth noting that a black hole the same mass as the sun would be about the diameter of a not especially large town, about 4 miles. A black hole the same diameter as the sun in the same place? Yeah, then we might get some sucky. Finally,